You ready, man?
Sure.
Hey, this is the Pens Prognosis. I'm Kevin.
And I'm Kris.
Good job, Kris. Pens just lost to the Rangers. Any first thoughts, Kris?
Well, this is the first game we got to see Jake Guentzel in action playing for the NHL
Guentzel.
Penguins, and he didn't disappoint.
Yeah, he came out right in the first period, had 2 goals. I was kind of shocked by that, but I don't know. They were pretty easy goals, if you ask me. I wouldn't get too excited about it.
Yeah, the first goal, it was his first shot of the game, first shift of the game, and he just kind of shot it right at the goalie's leg pad, ice level.
Not a threatening shot at all.
From a bad angle, and the goalie just sort of let it in. It's just sort of why you got to shoot the puck at the net sometimes.
Yeah, you got a freebie.
Exactly.
And yeah, the second one then, what was that, a rebound?
Yeah, I didn't see that one. I wasn't here at that point, but
yeah, that was another one. The puck just came to him there, and he just slapped it in the net. That was not anything really super impressive. I mean, it's really cool. First NHL game for a dude to get 2 goals, but if we're trying to analyze what that means, I don't think it means necessarily a whole lot. It could foreshadow maybe some offensive production, but I don't think we're going to see anything explosive like that.
Yeah, he has looked really competent at the minor league level with the baby Penguins. He's put up a lot of points and goals there. So his time with this team, I thought, was it was earned. But yeah, I mean, obviously it's hard to really predict anything meaningful from 1-2 goal intro game. Did you have any other impressions of him, just other than that?
I mean, I thought he was good. He seemed, comfortable out there. He was just making normal hockey plays, I thought. There wasn't really anything spectacular. He went to the net and he got into open positions. So, I mean, in that sense, I'm comfortable with him playing. I think he made a pretty good hit there at one point. I think maybe in the third period that was. So, I mean, I think he played pretty well, and I wouldn't mind seeing him continue getting some time on the team.
Yeah, that's kind of my thought as well. I thought he fit into what Mike Sullivan's trying to do. He has a very simple game of just going really hard on the forecheck, and obviously you want to take the right angles and do all the right things there, which is what I felt like he was doing, but he also fits into their game of being speedy and, getting a lot of scoring chances, and I felt he did a good job.
Yeah, he looks, a lot of the players, the new generation of players seems to have that just agility and speed, above everything else. That's seems to be the most consistent thing.
Yeah. It seemed obviously when Mike Sullivan got in, and he stressed this a lot, was speed. He wanted speed, and that's why they got Connor Sheary and Rust and Kuhnhackl. But obviously, Rust is really speedy. Guentzel seems speedy. Long ago to the days of, Bilesma putting Craig Adams and, Bo Bennett on the ice. And nothing against Bo Bennett, but, other guys like Craig Adams and Sutter. And, even, especially when people got injured, you had, Kobasu and Pyatt and even, Bill Guerin back in the day.
Yeah, I'd much rather see these younger guys come up and really show what they've got.
Exactly. I think they definitely haven't disappointed either.
Especially if you can drop a couple of those other younger guys down and have them sit a game or two. They're going to get sick of sitting games. Doesn't necessarily mean that, they didn't earn it, but, if you just show them, you're not guaranteed a spot here. Nobody's guaranteed a spot, and you can bring those younger guys up and who can just bring some speed and grit to the game, because that's something that you see kind of fade away during the long season. Oh, yeah,
but also skill. Obviously, Connor Sheary, we plan to talk about him a little bit today. He's been a great addition, and he obviously brings, the hands and speed and just, vision that you need to be a first-line player.
Yeah, I think, Sheary definitely is a really strong puck handler. I mean, I'd like to see him get a little bit better in traffic there. I mean, but he's young, and the NHL is fast, and it's not easy to dangle and, sticking your way through a lot of stuff. So that's something for him to work on for sure. But he's playing with Crosby right now. That's who better to learn from.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, what else are we going to talk about here? Well, Tom Sestito waived. He's won't be seeing him anymore, probably ever, right?
You gotta imagine.
I mean, he's just bad. He's not a good hockey player. He's not even a good goon, really. That's what he's there for, and he's not really good at that.
No, and the one guy was talking about this on his Twitter, but who was that on the Capitals? Just ran. He had a cheap shot on one of our guys. I forget who it was, but Tom Wilson of the Capitals is their goon.
Oh, yeah.
And Sestito was there that game, and did he deter it? Of course not. That doesn't.
No.
Goons don't actually deter anything in the NHL. Well, right, exactly. And they always say that you need a goon on your team to deter things. Well, it's not true. Every team is going away from goons now. There's no actual numerical or just even anecdotal proof of goons actually deterring anything on any type of consistent basis. There's just no validity to that argument.
No, yeah, you need team toughness, I think, is the real thing that you need. Not just, a weak team and then a couple guys who just go out there for 5 minutes and try to beat people up. That's not helping anybody. It's not going to help you win. It might give the illusion of it, but in the end, I think it just shortens your bench, and teams are realizing that now.
Yeah, obviously the stats with Sestito off the ice versus on are pretty stark. He just has a very negative impact on what they can do when he's on the ice. And he honestly drags down effective players like Cullen, who are a part of why your team is effective now. You actually have some depth that you can rely on. You don't just have Crosby playing 35 minutes a night or something stupid.
Yeah, definitely. I think the only real positive that we get out of Sestito, I mean, you and me, is that it's amusing. And he does stupid shit occasionally.
Right, exactly. But it's not amusing enough. It's not like Fleury where you can,
Yeah, Fleury's pretty amusing too. I think anyone could agree on that.
This is definitely true.
Especially when he comes out of the net, which happens 10 times a game probably.
Yeah, he had one today where he just banked it off the backboards, and the Rangers guy immediately got the puck and almost wrapped it around. I think his defenseman saved his ass or something. It was a funny Fleury moment, and you get a lot of those throughout a season.
Yeah, that's definitely something that we don't see out of Murray. Not, at least not as much.
No, Murray just seems like more of a robot, and but also a much smarter stick handler, or more effective, or something. I don't know. He's just not as risky. That's for sure.
I mean, he's more predictable for his defenseman. I think that's that's the thing that I noticed. If I was a defenseman coming to pick up the puck when Fleury's handling it, I don't know what he's gonna do. He waits until the last second. He might just leave it there. He might, move it a few inches towards you, but you need to know, because that affects, the whole way you skate through and behind the net. And, I mean, that kind of uncertainty is just not helpful at all in an NHL game.
No, definitely not.
But Murray just seems to, he's very clear and obvious with what he's doing. He just leaves the puck there, no weird stuff.
Right, exactly. I don't know. It's just not Fleury's strength, obviously, but it's kind of funny to observe.
You think after, how many years? 12 years that they would have gotten through to him? Please stop.
You would think so, and I think we all remember that one game against the Blue Jackets in the playoffs.
No.
You don't? Well, basically, so
how long ago? Recently?
Biles was still the coach, so not that recently.
Who out there? Everyone, raise your hand if you remember what game Kris is talking about, because I don't.
Well, basically, they could have went up 3-1 in the series if Fleury just didn't come out of the net. And with 30 seconds left, he comes out of the net. The puck goes off the end boards, and they just shoot it in the net, and then win 1 minute into overtime and tie the series at 2. Fleury.
Yeah, no, I don't remember that game. I'm sure, somewhere in my heart I remember the emotion that I had from it.
Yeah, probably.
All right, so anyway, we're talking about Murray and Fleury. In case anyone hasn't realized it at this point, Murray is the starting goalie for the Penguins. Fleury is the backup.
Yeah, it seems like what they're doing right now is they're having Fleury play, the second half of a back-to-back. Though he did get to play today, so I assume that means Murray's taking the next two or something like that.
Yeah.
Because the games are split apart this week. There are no back-to-backs, so it was kind of curious to see were they just going to give Murray all 3 games, or were they going to, it looks like they decided to keep him fresh and play Fleury tonight.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I mean, Fleury's he's not terrible by any means. He makes some stupid decisions, and he's a little squirrely. But,
we could definitely attest to that.
I mean, I don't think he's changed much in the last, few years at all. He seems still to me like the same goalie we've always had. And so, yeah, I mean, giving him some starts, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, even if Murray's a little stronger.
No, obviously Fleury's a quality goalie, and I felt like he's definitely played very well. Like at least at the start of the season, he started off really hot when Murray was hurt, and even in those games where we didn't have Crosby or Letang, we were just getting pounded in shots. Fleury gave us a puncher's chance in a lot of those games. So obviously he's definitely earned some time too, in my opinion, and it's just kind of difficult because they got this younger phenom who's just putting up ridiculously good numbers right now, and just has the whole time he's been here. So he's it's just a tough decision.
Yeah, I mean, but at the same time, Murray has never played a full NHL season.
Right.
He's never had this kind of workload. So why try to put him through all that where we don't know what he's going to look like at the end of the season?
Yeah, no, I mean, you're right. There's no reason to wear him out early. And that's true with any player on the team, really. And that's kind of what separates these recent Pittsburgh teams from other ones is they've got guys like Matt Cullen and Nick Bonino, who we'll talk about later. But I mean, at the very least last year, those guys were definitely doing a great job of carrying the load. When guys like Crosby and Malkin were out, and even when they were in, they could eat up, big chunks of minutes just so Crosby and Malkin didn't get worn out early on in the season they have in years past, it seemed like.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, one thing I wanted to bring up, like I said, how Fleury always seems to get squirrely, especially when the puck's in close. He just he moves around a lot and he makes too many movements, I think, is the way I would put it. I don't know. Do you think that's the right way to put it?
Yeah, no, it's his positioning just isn't as stable as Murray's. He does move too much, and that sometimes opens up things that weren't originally there.
Yeah, and there's a stat that I found actually. Shots so far this season, shots within 15 feet. Fleury's save percentage is .771, and Murray's is .875.
Yeah, and that's
and I mean that's what I would attribute that to. I mean, Murray, when the puck gets in close, he is calm and stays, he's upright. He has his back straight. He's covering a lot of space, whereas Fleury just starts moving around. He kicks on his saves. He'll try to kick it out, but then that opens his 5-hole, and he just tries to overcommit to everything. And he just ends up hurting himself, really.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. With Matt Murray, I think he's a little bit bigger than Fleury, so that helps a little bit.
I was looking at that. He's 2 inches taller.
Yeah, I think, Murray's 6'4", Fleury's 6'2". So that's a little bit of an advantage, but I also think that both these guys are very athletic goalies, and one of them just is a little bit calmer with his movements and stuff.
Well, Murray's definitely more, I would call it new school goalie, where it's less is more.
Yeah.
Whereas before, I think you still saw a lot smaller goalies in the past, to the point where there wasn't a specific way to play that was always the right way. But it seems now it's becoming very structured.
Yeah, no, that's very true. Especially with these bigger goalies, Murray and Price, and there's a lot of examples. Obviously,
you could pretty much name any starting goalie out there. They're all pretty big guys.
Yeah, and it seems you're right. They all want to do the same thing of making the shooter make the first move, and just being in a good enough position that just by being there, they'll probably have a good chance of it not going in the net, because they can just, One thing that's actually interesting that I found out was goalies do have like a consistent ability to like make people miss the net. And it's just they have shown that it's a repeatable thing. So with guys like Murray, you know, he's so big, like they have to hit that corner just that little much better, like, bit better. It's just like, you know, his positioning is just so important to how good he is.
Oh, absolutely.
And he's definitely better at Fleury than that, especially when it comes to when he has to move around to do it. You know, he's just more steady, I guess is how I'd put it.
Yeah, absolutely. What else are we going to talk about? Let's talk about funny moments. I got a few of them here. One of them was, we were watching this one, I think, when Kessel stole Bonino's goal.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It was going in.
Yeah.
Kessel was standing there, and he took it from Bonino, who needs a goal pretty bad.
Yeah, he does. Bonino's gotten a little bit unlucky with shooting this year. He's only shooting 4%, and that would have helped him out a little bit there. But, you know, Kessel, being the good teammate that he is, decided to take that goal for himself.
Yeah.
But he wanted to make sure it went in, so no fault to him there.
Yeah, just making sure,
you know,
probably making sure for the team. But,
yeah,
you know, maybe making sure for Phil too. Maybe a little bit.
Well, you know, he's tired of getting made.
Goal scorer instinct takes over. I can understand.
He needs to prove the Toronto media wrong. He got maligned in Toronto for all those years. Now he's just a Stanley Cup champion.
He isn't tweeting them.
Yeah, no. Like
KTSN, check me out.
Yeah, that World Cup moment was hilarious.
All right, so that was we'll call that A. B, another funny moment. I don't know if anyone else saw it. I think it was against Buffalo, where Malkin tried to take a one-timer. I sent you a little clip of this on the phone.
Yeah, I saw that.
Where Malkin tried to take a one-timer while he like fell over and landed on his ass.
Oh, yeah.
He literally was on his butt, and the puck came through the slot, and he took a huge whiff at it, and it went up to the point, and he totally missed it.
Just a swing and a miss. It happens.
But it's great, you know, so you just got to go for it. That would have been a great highlight.
Yeah, if he made connection with that, I'm sure it would have been a nice shot.
So, yeah, that was funny. I'll see if I can maybe try to find a clip of that. Maybe. We'll see. All right, so, and then I have a third one against Buffalo again. Fleury's second shootout save. I don't know if you saw this one or if you remember it, Chris. He poke-checked and also, like, rolled over, stuck one leg up in the air, and, like, did a Hasek flop all at the same time. And I think the puck just, like, hit his pad that was, like, laying on the ice. So the whole flop thing made no sense at all. He's just... it's hard to watch sometimes because it's funny, but at the same time, it's just horrible percentage goaltending, really.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, he's definitely an above average goalie in shootouts, but the way he does it is just, you wonder how the hell he does it sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, pretty much.
He looks ridiculous. I mean, you see him do those weird things in, like, the practice shootouts that they do, and in the All-Star game when he was doing all that weird stuff. But then he just goes and does it in regular games, too.
You know, he's got to keep guys on their toes, make sure they're looking.
Oh, Fleury. So great.
I always like how he gets guys with that little poke check he does.
Yeah.
The problem is if he does it every time, like, they're probably going to start looking for it. But he does, like, that's always one of the little things I've liked about him.
I guess
if he can just avoid the shot altogether, then, you know.
He didn't just do the poke check against Buffalo, though. He poke checked and did the cartwhal.
Oh, no, I know.
The flop.
I wasn't talking about that.
So, I mean, they'll never see it coming, no matter what he does. You can know that for sure.
It's hard to predict the cartwheel.
Well, maybe not so much when it's Fleury. Not anymore.
Yeah, that's maybe with Hasek, and then he'd still stop you anyways because he was just that good.
We love you, Fleury. We hope you stay in the Pens forever.
Yeah.
At least, hopefully not as a goalie coach. No offense. Let's talk about Lions real quick. I mean, they've been... it's so hard to follow, but he's been moving them around a lot. We had HBK together against the Capitals, and then Hornqvist got hurt. So then, let's see what... Hagelin moved up to take Hornqvist's spot. And then Kessel moved to Malkin's line with Kunitz. And, okay, I'm not going to do this because this is just... No one's going to even be able to follow what I'm saying. There's too much movement.
Yeah,
it's all over the place.
No, you don't have to talk about, like...
Nah, so, I mean... Yeah, I don't even know where to start with all the lines.
Just say HBK's back together. You can highlight that.
It's not back together, though.
No, it was, and then obviously Kunitz got hurt. No.
Well, I mean, it wasn't even when Hornqvist got hurt.
No, it was kind of like they started it up again.
They were together with the Capitals. No, they were together with the Capitals, and then the 2 games against Islanders and the Sabres. Yeah, they didn't play even any seconds together. The HBK line, I looked it up, and they were completely split up for those 2 games, and. I presume this game probably. I don't remember seeing HBK out there against the Rangers tonight.
No, they weren't.
And yeah, Malkin played with Kessel and what's his face?
Jake Gensel.
The Phenom.
Yeah, no, obviously, with
trade him for Austin Matthews now.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll win that one. We'll definitely win that one if we get it, but I don't think the Leafs are that stupid.
Yeah, well, they're pretty stupid, right?
Yeah, they've had their moments.
Just kidding. We love you, Maple Leafs, and everyone associated with the Maple Leafs.
Sure.
Chris is rolling his eyes. Don't roll your eyes, Chris. Okay, so yeah, that line was... I don't know, that line was pretty good. I wasn't, super impressed, but I think they put on a good amount of pressure. Not as much as Crosby's line. Crosby's line is nice.
Well, Crosby is like any time he has competent line mates, they just crush the opposition. So obviously, it's hard to compare anybody to Crosby's line. But obviously with Malkin's line, with Gensel and Kessel, you got 2 guys who are decent shooters, and then they're also speedy. So you just got that speed to complement Malkin, so he can just dish it off and make something happen that way, or you can just you just open up space for him to score goals too. Yeah.
Pretty much most of Malkin's shift seems to be Malkin just skating around with the puck most of the time, looking for something to do with it.
Yeah, and I mean...
So you need line mates that are good off the puck.
Right, exactly. And I feel like Gensel's always been a smart player throughout his, younger career.
I was saying before, I mean, he was getting to good spots, and basically that's what you want to do when you're with Malkin. That's like what James Neal did. He was good at, kind of floating back and getting himself open.
Yeah.
And, you don't have to play a crazy game with Malkin. Just, get out of his way and try to get open when you can.
Right, yeah. Just find those spots. He'll get you the puck if you're open.
Yeah, we don't even talk about the other lines. I mean, you have anything to say about the 3rd and 4th lines? Cullen's cool. We like him. Anything else?
Well, yeah, Cullen's been great, obviously.
Cullen is the shit.
He's had to deal with some, Tom Sestito, and just it makes things difficult, obviously. And then, obviously he gets moved up to the 3rd line if one of the top 2 centers is out. So,
well, I mean, yeah, his line becomes the 3rd line, basically.
Right, and he's, very good at handling that role, despite the fact that he's either 39 or 40 now, I forget. But yeah, he's up there.
I don't know. Looks young to me.
Yeah. No,
Dude's got wheels still. Well, he's not super fast, but he works hard. That's probably even more impressive.
Yeah, no, he definitely does. And you can tell he wants to win another cup this year. And that's probably why he signed another 1-year contract with the Penguins. Still got it. Did we want to talk about Nick Bonino at all?
I mean, you can talk about him. He's kind of been boring me, to be honest.
Well, yeah, so that's kind of my thought is
point, right?
This guy went from being, a positive driver of shots and whatnot, and meaningful puck possession. And part of that too was like he was firmly saddled with in that HBK line. Last year right after Malkin got hurt, that's kind of when the HBK line became a thing, and then they started catching fire. Obviously, like certain things about Bonino's game, like he had a really high shooting percentage for a while last year, and obviously it's kind of coming back to earth now. Like this year he's only shooting 4% on the year, which probably isn't going to last forever because we know that he's a decent player. But the worst thing is he's been like an absolute dumpster fire in terms of possession this year. He's been at like 43%. I think the one guy they quote. One of the other podcasts I listened to, the Garage League podcast, they talked about how I think before like these recent games he was like 39% or something. It was like Mike Johnston era levels of terrible. So I don't know. When you watch him, like, do you notice anything different from last year, or have you noticed? I don't know. What do you notice?
I think most of it honestly has to do with who his line mates have been. I mean, the HPK line has not been together for most of the season, really. I mean, we've seen it here and there, but really they've been split up. And those guys, you're seeing him with line mates, both that have speed and are smart with the angles they take to the puck. They're good forechecking and back-checking. And I think he was able to blend in with that well. I mean, because he's not super fast, but he was good as a center, kind of taking up the middle areas of the ice.
Right, yeah.
And, I mean, now I think just the people that he's been with, those kind of third and fourth liners, they don't pressure the puck quite as much, and so then when he's coming late, the opponents have more options already, and he can't really funnel them off as much like he did when they had Hagelin pressuring or somebody else.
But like even this year when the HBK line has been together, they've just gotten crushed. And do you think like so obviously you don't think it's all Bonino like when he's on the other lines, but when they're together, like who do you think is like? Do you think anybody in particular is holding that line back? Or, like, I mean, obviously you kind of mentioned Hagelin, like, when we were off the air.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably just a combination of all of them, really. Like I said, I think I said in the last podcast, they don't have that, extra kick that they did from the playoffs. I think that, that adrenaline was a little bit of what made their forechecking so good. And, this early in the season, it seems like they're not really, like, awake yet. I don't know. But at the same time, I wouldn't say the HBK line was that bad. I mean, against the Capitals, they scored the only goal for the Penguins.
Right, yeah.
And
I mean it's hard to take anything away from that game in general.
I mean, that game was not a very good example for anything.
Yeah. I mean, I know earlier in the year they were kind of just getting killed in shots and like scoring chances and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it wasn't super surprising because the quality of competition that they were facing was now first lines instead of like second and third was what they were more playing in the playoffs. Teams generally stack their first lines up against Crosby's for obvious reasons.
Right.
So I think that partly explains some of it, obviously, too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I honestly would probably prefer to see HBK together and work the other lines a different way and have Crosby with, Hornqvist or Kunitz.
Or Jake Gensel.
Cheery. Yeah, well.
I just played. No, they could work. You never know. But, I think you're right. As far as there's
enough ways to work the roster around that even when someone's hurt, you can keep that line together. And I think they're just, as a group, they're just best together complementing each other rather than complementing other lines. I think our other lines can be formed without those guys being a part of them.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. If you can keep the HBK line together and just get them back to where they were, you'll be fine. I mean, really, with Crosby and Malkin, as long as they have competent line mates, they'll be fine. And once, Hornqvist and Kunitz come back, hopefully, and, then you can really do whatever you want with those lines.
Well, yeah, then you're looking at rolling four lines again. Finally,
exactly.
Once those guys are back. I mean, we can't really do it when we have one or two of the forwards hurt, but when we got everybody rolling, boy, watch out. The Penguins are good.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing too. Like, as we've been saying, that separates them from past years. Like, if one of those top 6 went out in the past year, all of a sudden, like, Crosby just has some complete scrub on his line.
I mean, we already had Bo Bennett as like a normal part of the top 6. Like,
yeah, that's a good point too.
It's not a good situation. I know, Kris, you really liked Bo Bennett. I know. Like, you thought he was really, really good, but, I don't personally. So
no, he was.
That's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, no, I didn't think. I don't know, Bo Bennett. He seemed like kind of okay in like a slower system or something. But he, really the thing about him was like when he played, he wasn't that bad. It's just he was hurt every fucking season. Like I don't know what his average games per season was, but it was. I don't
think I ever noticed him being hurt because I didn't notice when he was on the ice either.
Yeah, no, and he wasn't. That's the funny thing. You look at all the players on the Devils now. They got all these one-off.
He's like up on the power play.
They got all these guys who are just like free agents every year. It seems like they got like him and
he's right at home.
Was it Paranto?
Paranto.
They got Smith Pelly. It's just this hodgepodge of castaways or something.
Poor guys.
They all got like put on some desert island with Taylor Hall, and they're the Devils.
Yeah, Newark.
Yeah, basically.
Have fun. All right. Well, what else we got? I think we'll just probably wrap it up. I got the "you fucked up."
Yeah, I think we both
know
it.
Fucked up.
You fucked up.
Yeah, I already told you what it's going to be.
Yeah.
The "you fucked up" goes to Gino. Evgeny Malkin gets it this week when he fucking whacked Matt Murray in the face. Well, he knocked him in the face in his helmet with like his elbow, knocked his helmet off, and then as he's like going ape shit on some guy who poked Murray a little bit, whacks him in the face with his stick.
Yeah, it was just a really stupid all around.
Sending him out of the game.
Well, yeah, because I think like Murray got hit in the mask with the shot or something, and then like
no, Murray was like covering the puck or something, and the other team, the guy was poking at him a little bit, like everybody does. And Malkin just flipped out and like tackles the guy, but as he's like trying to tackle him, he like slammed into Murray and knocked his helmet off.
Yeah, I definitely remember that part because he knocked Murray's helmet off initially.
Yeah, it was Malkin. Malkin did the whole fucking thing.
And then, Murray's just kind of standing there looking towards, center ice.
He's like, oh, my helmet's gone. No big deal. Yeah, I'll be all right. And then, whack.
And then, Gino was just, wrestling with the guy behind the net. Yeah, the stick was high in the air.
Going ape shit is the correct term.
Oh, definitely. And then
like an ape. Like seriously, like
he was pretty pissed off. Like, obviously,
if a chimpanzee got angry at somebody, that's what he was doing, just flailing. He was probably doing chimpanzee screams too.
Yeah, I don't know. He's just it was just such a dumb move all around. Like, you got to keep your. Obviously, I know hockey's an emotional game, and you're gonna get pissed, you're gonna fight people. But one, you got to keep control of your stick, and two, like having it anywhere near your goalie's head after you just knocked his helmet off is just it's not a good thing.
And you know what? While we're talking about Malkin, we'll give him a double. You fucked up because he's leading the team in penalty minutes. The dude needs to get a grip. Like, he's killing them. The team's been doing all right, but he's getting a penalty every game.
Yeah, he needs to cut out the penalty minutes a bit. Obviously, Gino is like, we were talking about it the other day, like, despite all these penalty minutes, his penalty differential's even, and that's just because of how good he is and how many he can draw. So if he just cuts out all those...
I don't think it's even.
Well, it's not anymore, I don't think, but at the time it was like
I don't
like a
think
week
it's
ago
even
or something.
This year, I was not the stat I was looking up.
Yeah, I don't really remember, but basically he needs to cut out the meaningless penalty minutes because he's such a good player. You need him on the ice whenever you can.
Yeah, he's just using poor back checking technique